episode of Our Point of View Talk Show. We are so glad that you are able to join us this evening. Tonight, we're going to be talking about self-love. So let's go ahead and say hello to all of our hosts. So we say hi to Mr. or Captain Captain Eric Jackson, all the way from California still.
Yes, still in California. Yes, indeed. Yes. And for those who don't know, the retired Captain Eric Jackson.
Hey.
Yes. Wonderful.
And we have Miss Connie Abraham, who just celebrated 30 years of marriage.
Wow, congratulations.
Hello, everybody. It's so good to be back. Welcome to season 6 of our
Wow.
podcast.
All right.
And we have Jen. Hey, Jen.
Hey, so
Hey,
I want to say, hey guys, I wasn't able to be on last week's show because I was working, so it's so good to be back with you guys for, like Connie said, season 6 of Our Point of View. It's always great to see you. Congratulations again, Connie. That's so wonderful. You guys, celebrating 30 years of marital bliss. So that is truly, truly amazing. And I do want to give a huge shout out to the designer of this awesome shirt, my wonderful aunt, Missy Shealy. So happy Wednesday, everyone.
That's very cute. I want one.
Nice.
I want one.
All right, we'll get you taken care of.
I like that.
And also we have back with us Miss Tamala Johnson. How are you?
Hello,
Tam?
hello.
What's up,
Thank you so much for
TJ?
joining
That's
us.
right. Great to be here. And I'm also
TJ.
retired from the Army National Guard. So
There you
I,
go.
yes. Thank you.
Awesome,
It's great to be here.
Awesome.
Good. So what are we talking about today, Jen? We're talking about self-love.
All right, guys. Right. So, as she said, today's show is about self-love. So we're just going to get into that. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is the 7 tips of loving yourself. And one of those tips is making yourself a priority. So let's talk a little bit about what you can do to make yourself a priority, especially in situations where you've got so many people pulling you in different directions, whether it's home life, work life, things like that. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'll start out by saying, it's okay to say no. A lot of people, it's difficult at times, especially when it's someone that you love that's asking you to do something. Maybe you guys are like, especially when it's someone that you love asking you to do something, no matter how big or small. It can be difficult to just, kind of say, okay, guys, I can't do it. But we have to make that effort to just kind of, put yourself first in that situation sometimes and think, okay, do I really have the time for this? Do I not already have enough on my plate? Is it something that I can give my, a commitment to, that I can really put my 100% effort into? If it's not, then I need to go ahead and say no. So what do you guys think about that? How about making yourself a priority?
That's huge. Because you're putting yourself throughout all the hustle and bustle. You're saying, look, the buck stops here. It is, and not being conceited or anything like that, but just saying the buck stops here. It is all about me. So I am going to do for me, with me, by me, for me.
For me.
For me.
I'm just saying.
But for me, a lot of times being a parent is hard for me to say no. Because I don't want them to have to go to another avenue to get something. If I can help them, I'd rather help them. But on the flip side, you can also make it too easy for them, and then they won't learn by saying yes all the time, by not giving. So it's hard. I mean, and my children they're not children, but they're like in their 40s, 20s, and 30s. So they're grown, and I still, have a hard time saying no.
My self-love, what I like to do is listen to manifestation. I love listening to things that builds me up. It helps me not to forget who I am, because like you said, all the negativity that goes on around the world, you need to come back to yourself. So so when I listen to that, it builds me, makes me stronger. And that's what I love about manifestations. So each morning you have to, like I said, you have to have your affirmations each morning. you know, for you to go out and tackle the world. And then the word tells you as well, you know. And so, but what I also like to do is I like to work out. So I've hired a personal trainer.
Very nice.
What do you mean no?
I hate working out.
That's her way of
Oh.
making herself herself. That's awesome.
But
Used to
that's
work out all the
self-love for
my
me,
gosh.
you know. I know where I want to be, and then for me to keep saying, you know, I'll start tomorrow. I said, no more starting tomorrow because the belly kept getting big. So I had to go ahead and hire a personal trainer and get myself together.
Right.
So to me, that, you know, that's a part of being of self-love. Make sure I take care of me, because getting older, so much
Yeah.
stuff gets
Mhm.
attached to your body and it stays there. So you
Yeah.
have to love yourself, you know, love your body. And that's how I tackle things.
Yeah, I think for me, I kind of go along with Jackie, because as mothers and some of us as wives and, you know, aunties and everything, sometimes we get lost. I know we get lost in the process of mothering or wifing. And so the things that we love to do really kind of take a back seat until, you know, our children are grown, like Jackie said. But even when your children are grown, you never stop mothering, you never stop parenting. All of my children are grown out of the home on their own. But I feel like I will never stop parenting, never stop mothering. Not that I ever want to. However, it wasn't until I felt like I had fulfilled my purpose in my children's lives that I did then began to say, okay, what is it that I love? What is it that I want to do? And it wasn't until I felt like I had at least let my husband know that I was 100% supportive of him, like giving of myself to make sure the children were getting everything that they needed, that I was doing, being the proper mother, that I was being the proper wife, that I was making sure my house was in order, and all those things that go along with parenting and motherhood and being a wife. So that those things were my goal. Now that the children are grown and on their own, there are other things that I want to do that are self-fulfilling for myself, like writing my book, like starting my own business, like going out and going to the gym all the time, like hanging out with my girlfriends, like having me time, going to the movies by myself or out to dinner by myself and just sitting there quietly without a care in the world. Those are the kind of things that I think that a lot of times we as women fail to do in the process. And then we wake up and say, oh, shoot, you know, I almost got lost in me. I was with my one of my surrogate moms just this past weekend at our wedding, and she was sharing, her husband had recently passed, but she was sharing how she just realizing now, like, oh my goodness, like there is life for me, you know. There are things that I wanted to do. So now she says she's starting to travel and she's starting to hang out with her girlfriends more. The things that she did not do because she was married for, I don't know, 50 something years, honey. I don't know, a long time. And, you know, raise all of these children and you're making sure that they're okay and the grands are okay. So she said that she really got lost in it, but it was okay. It wasn't like she was really lost. It was just what she did. And she was happy with doing it. But now that she's a widow now and she has the time. Now she says I wake up and be like, oh, I can go do what I want today. I could go to the shopping. I could go do this. Because she doesn't have to consider everybody else that was connected to her. So I think that self-love is very important and we need to learn it in the process. While we're mothering, while we're wifing, while we're parenting, we need to be able to take those moments to just be to ourselves and love on us. That way, I know I'm long-winded. Y'all know how I go. I've been gone for like how many?
Come
Oh,
on,
you know,
honey. Get it out.
Oh, go ahead. It's interesting.
Come on. We
what I was
Preach.
was that even in the, I was going to share with even the women who are single, you know what I mean? Learn how to love on yourself, enjoy yourself, have a good time. I try to tell my spiritual daughters, they so caught up in getting married. Oh, I want to be my child, boo-boo, enjoy your singleness, you know, have time to yourself, love on you, go to the spa, go to the gym, go to the park, take a walk, you know, just do the things that you would love to do for you. Because when we love ourselves, everybody is going to be the benefit of the love that we have for ourselves, because it's going to spew out of us onto everybody else. Okay. All right.
Let me add to that real quick, Connie. I've been here in California for 2 months. I think it's been some behind the scenes self-love going on back there in Atlanta. because
Loving being by herself.
oh, I mean, and look, I was supposed to have been back July 28th. She reminded me of an event of my class reunion that I have at the end of August. And so I was just gonna come back home. And she's like, what do you need to do that for? You be spending more money. Stay out there. Stay there. So I looked at her, we did a FaceTime, and she had her hair all in braids. She went to the thing, the manicure, got a mani
She
pedi.
said the thing.
Yeah.
I love it.
You know, this
Loving
stuff,
on
not,
herself.
Went to the
yeah,
whatchamacallit,
I mean,
thingamajiggy, and
not that I was ever against any of that stuff, but I think that she took the time with me not being there and the boys in school and working. It's just work and tennis and reading and Lifetime and all this other stuff she had going on. So I'm like, all right. So I think it was going on in the background. So
with you saying all that, so it seems like it's hard for women to have self-love or take care of themselves while they're in that situation, like Connie said, because you're a mothering, you're a wifing and all, so you're not able to take care of yourself because you're taking care of others.
right.
So is that basically what it is? Being that you're
I believe
have
so.
you-
I believe so. I mean,
so if you were at home, she wouldn't be doing all this. She would be taking care of you, making sure you're straight.
so she's the type.
tell the truth, ain't the devil.
Cheryl's the type where she's not the one that has to go and get her nails done, right? And all the mani pedi. She's not wrapped up in all that stuff. She's really pretty, for lack of better terms, pretty basic. You know, she doesn't have these high demands, these high needs. And I don't restrict her from doing anything. But I believe, to Connie's point, that and your point as well, all you all's points, that motherly instinct just kicks in, and it's like, okay, I'm secondary. I got to make sure my child is dressed and ready for school, and they have this and have that. It just kind of gets lost in the sauce. But I think that she just took this opportunity for 2 months, just straight, just doing her thing, doing her. And I don't plan to interrupt that.
Good job, Shell. Good job,
So
Shell.
is she gonna continue doing that once you get back?
Say that again.
Is she gonna continue doing what she's doing now once you get back, or is she gonna go back?
I hope so. And I like
Encourage her.
Yeah, I didn't believe that I did anything to inhibit that, but I can tell you, when I get back, I know that I'm going to, like you said, I'm going to encourage that, because if it's good for her, it's good for the family, right? Everybody happy.
Right. She's gonna be
Happy
her
wife,
best
happy
self.
life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just like couples have date nights, I think that they should have time alone.
Yeah.
You know, you go out with your girlfriends, you go out with your guy friends, you know, you do different things, you know, as long as you know what your boundaries are and all, you know. So, I mean, you have to make sure that you're, you know, working on the relationship, and then making sure that you're working on yourself as well.
Absolutely.
I agree.
And I've been divorced twice, so.
That's okay.
But you know, it's
Trial and error.
I'm listening to you all saying how you more or less, I guess you're consumed with taking care of everybody, but I believe you do need a good support system in order for you to get out of that routine.
That's right.
So and I had one here. So once my children became grown, I didn't feel lost, because whatever I needed to do while they were growing up, I was able to do because of my support system. So I think that's very important. You would have to still know yourself, know who you are while you're raising your children. Even, I guess because of the fact, just like I said, I was basic when it would come to raising. It wasn't about name brand stuff. It was basic stuff. So my children were not demanding. Whatever I gave them to put on, whatever I put on the table to eat, that's what's it. So it was no, I didn't have any struggles really bringing them up. And if I needed to go somewhere, my parents were in town, so they watched them. I have a sister that was able to help out, and I was able to do whatever I need to do. You have to take time for yourself, you know, and like I said, you can't get consumed, you know, if you don't have that outlet while you're raising your children.
Well,
see, you have to know that, and you have to be told that, because when I was when my children were younger, once I started, when my older son, he'll be 42 this year. Once I had him, I stopped doing for me. I stopped buying things for me. I was no longer important. It was all about him. I had to make sure he was okay. And then when the other 2 and 3 came along, I had to make sure they were okay. So it's all about them. So somebody has to tell you, no, do everything together, raise your kids and take care of yourself at the same time. Don't wait to take care of yourself after you've raised your kids.
Right.
Because by then, you've let yourself go.
That's true. That's
No
true.
telling what type of situation you will be in. So you do it all together. Because like I was getting into, I've always wanted to be a detective. And I started law enforcement at a late age because, my first 2 children, I wanted to, raise them and, be situated with them and all. And then I had my second 2 children and I'm like, I can't wait until they're grown to start my career. So we need to do this together. So I went to the police academy, and when I came home and I was studying and all, they had to study with me, or they had to sit down and have quiet time while I was studying, because I knew what I was doing was to better our lives. So we had to do it all together.
That's true.
Together. And then Tammy, what you were talking about as far as the support system, my younger 2 children, Michael and Jasmine, their friends' moms became my friends. And we all, we raised our kids all together. They were on the sports teams together. They went to school together and everything. We went to their graduations and all. Once the kids graduated and gone out of school, out of the house and everything, now we're friends. Now we hang out and we do things, and that's how we met, through our children, and we've continued to be friends all their lives. So it's about that support system.
You
have to have.
You gotta have it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So let's go on to the second step of the 7 tips, and we may or may not get through all of them, but we'll just see, how far we can get. Now, the second step says to stop criticizing yourself. And I think that is huge because we are often our own biggest critic. You might take a picture or something and it takes you a million times to, finally get that perfect picture that you feel like is worth posting, is worth others seeing. Guilty. I'm gonna stop. But it's just things like that. And then, a lot of times it's difficult for us to accept a compliment. Somebody might say, oh, you look so nice today, or you look great. Oh, child, I'm having a bad hair day. Oh, goodness, I ain't had nothing to do. We just find a way to put ourselves down often. And so we just got to learn how to stop criticizing ourselves. So you guys want to jump in on that one?
Yeah, we definitely have to learn to love ourselves and to stop criticizing about different things that we do. We have to, put ourselves first. We have to put ourselves first. Basically what we need to do.
Anybody else? Connie, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's very true. And even to our viewers, let us just encourage you to stop beating yourself up. It's so often, and then a lot of times we don't even verbally speak it out of our mouths, but our actions cause us to beat ourselves up. It's almost like, when I see young women in the mall or in the airport with bonnets on. To me, that's like
that's another story. That's another show.
Go out. That's not who you are. Right. You know what I mean? So why represent that? Because when I go out, my mother, I was raised that when you go out of the house, you represent who you are and your entire family. So when you get out of the house, you're supposed to represent that. So a lot of times I may not feel how I look, but I'm going to look good when I go outside of my house. Yeah. And I think that helps us when we begin to train our thought process to say, hey, I need to look good for me. And it's not about the accolades from my husband and my sons. I have all boys. So of course, mommy's beautiful. She's gorgeous. She's this, she's that. But more than that, you know what I mean? I have to say that to myself, girl, you is beautiful, honey. You got it going on. If nobody else affirm me and reaffirm me, I will affirm myself. And I think that that's something that we need to encourage our viewers, both young and old, is to affirm yourself. You know, a lot of young girls look for affirmation because the father is not present in the home, and because mommy is not affirming them, and mommy's too busy calling them a thought and a hoe. You understand what I'm saying? So they're not getting affirmed from their mothers. So they have to know that to love themselves enough to affirm themselves, to build their own esteem, to encourage, to rise up and encourage themselves. In the words of Maya Angelou, still I rise. I might not have been born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Everything might not be great in my life. Everything is not picture perfect, but yet I rise. I rise to the occasion of who I am and what I want to be. That's what I do. It's not based on what my friends say. It's not based on the girl on TikTok who don't think I'm cute enough, or don't think I'm pretty enough, who say I'm ugly. It's not based on any of those dynamics. It is based on the fact that we as women affirm and reaffirm ourselves and who we are and what we will become. Because what we speak out of our mouths, I firmly believe, is that what we will become. So if a young girl is raised in defects custody, she's a foster young lady. However, she affirms and reaffirms herself that I'm going to come up at, I mean, it's just so, I could go on and on about the young women who had those stories, but are successful today, not because somebody else affirmed them and encouraged them, but they decided for themselves that I'm going to be what I want to be, and I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be great. So to our viewers out there, listen, women and men, you know, because a lot of times the men get left out. They need self-love too. You know, nobody don't want to talk about their emotions and how they feel, that there's a soft side to the men too that needs to be reaffirmed and confirmed as men. You know, but a lot of times, you know, people think, oh, that's inappropriate. You shouldn't do that. A man got to be strong. Yeah, he got to be strong. He got to be thin. He got to be all of that. But he also has to have enough love for himself to be able to give that love to somebody else.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was an incredible point. And something I would like that you said, Connie, is that I may not feel how I look. I feel like you can walk out the house with like $1 million, and that particular day you might only feel like 10 cents. But I also feel like if you really take pride in how you are looking, in what you know, wear, in your physical appearance, you can boost your self-esteem up mentally.
Absolutely.
And, you know, get yourself to a point where it's like, okay, this might not be the best day, but I'm looking good. I'm putting my best foot forward. I'm giving my best self to the world. So I'm gonna make this a good day. You know what I mean? You know how a bad hair day can just mess everything up. If you go outside and you just listen, that's bad hair day. But yeah, so I mean, just presenting yourself as your absolute best at all times, that can definitely improve your self-love mentally. And I really like that point that you made. But I just want to veer off of the 7 tips list really quickly and just touch on something else. I went on Instagram and I looked up the hashtag self-love and just kind of looked at a couple of the posts, and some of them that resonated with me, I just kind of saved them. So one of them says, I forgive myself for the role I played in contributing to any unfavorable circumstances I found myself in as a result of any decisions I made. And I think that is a great form of self-love, is forgiveness, self-forgiveness. Because obviously we're going to make decisions in our life that is going to, you know, tear us down sometimes. We're going to think, oh man, I mean, what would have happened if I would have just made a different choice at that particular time? And we will literally beat ourselves up and tear ourselves down over something that we did. And so we have to learn how to forgive ourselves and move forward. So let's go ahead and talk about that.
Well, I think from the guy's perspective, that's really super important, because in a lot of situations we are in a position where we're making decisions, we're making choices, and we're, in the traditional sense, we're in leadership roles. We're leading, and not always is that picture perfect. Not always does that go the way we would like for it to go, or the way that we know for it to go, in order to achieve a particular dynamic. And when that happens, we've got to have a way or a mechanism to be able to bounce back. And so we don't want to find ourselves beating ourselves up over and over again, because life goes on. Decisions still have to be made, responsibilities still have to be met and kept. So you really have to find a way to forgive yourself, all right? And and affirm to yourself that, hey, I realize I messed up. And that's either with oneself or with some other partners. Generally, we don't get in groups and just start having a crying session, but there's usually one or two that you can confide in, one that you can talk back and forth to with, rather, that won't be judgmental, that won't take things out of character, and will tell you the truth. Will tell you the truth. And once you have that, then you can move forward. A little bit different of a dynamic for the men, but nevertheless, I mean, like for myself, I've noticed that as I've gotten older, I've gotten more sensitive. So if someone says something that really is touching to the old ticker here right in the middle of my chest, my eyes might well up. I may even drop one or two, but I'm cool with that because that's where my emotional state is right now. So I don't care what y'all say. If I gotta cry, I'm gonna cry and let it go. And because again, I'm thinking about me, I'm thinking about the self-care, I'm thinking about where I am mentally and how that will help relieve some pressure instead of feeling as though I can't let anybody see me crying or I can't let anybody see me upset and holding that in and causing stress, because you know what they say about pressure busts pipes. So I'm not trying to have any extra pressure. I'm trying to alleviate that.
Right.
And being true with myself and knowing how I am helps that process along.
Absolutely. That's a great perspective from the male point of view. Connie, you want to talk to us a little bit about it, about self-forgiveness?
Yeah, forgiveness, man. That's a powerful one. Yeah, a lot of times we don't forgive ourselves for the mistakes that we've made. I really had to even go back and think about even some of the things I did growing up as a young lady. Forgiving myself for those things that I felt like were the worst things in the world. To somebody else, they may not have been, but for me, they were. And so when you revisit those things that you kind of bury, you don't want to even talk about them, but when you revisit them, you got to be able to say, but I forgive you for that. And we all understand and recognize, and we know the forgiveness of God is ever present, and we can go to him continually and repent and ask for his forgiveness, which he so freely gives. However, we don't freely compensate and give that to ourselves as individuals. We are not, we're not so free to say, oh, well, Connie, I forgive you for what you did, 10 years ago. It's okay. I still love you through it. You know what I mean? But those are that when I was talking about those self conversations and rising up and encouraging yourself, a lot of times we have to verbalize and articulate, hey, Connie, I forgive you, Connie. You know what I mean? Look in the mirror and tell yourself, it's okay. You messed up. We all messed up. We all go through stuff. But I forgive you. I want you to be free. I want you to move forward from this so that you can continue to enjoy your life and continue to have love for yourself. I have a quote that I consistently use whenever I'm writing, whenever I'm speaking, on my bio, everywhere. It is, and I say this: I am beautiful, I am strong, I am intelligent, and I am full of love for myself. God gave me that many, many, many years ago when I started my mentoring for young women, because a lot of times those affirmations are not said to us. You understand? And so we have to affirm, like the sister was saying, say those affirmations, speak it out of your mouth. Don't just hold it into your heart. God wants to hear us speak things out of our mouths. We have to verbalize it. We have to articulate it so that we can hear it in our own ear gate, and then it penetrates to our heart. Because a lot of times when we keep silent about it, it's just like, it's silence. You thinking it, but you're not hearing it.
Right.
And he that has the ear, let him hear. So we have to speak it out of our mouth. That's one thing we've learned even in studying Judaism. When you pray, you don't pray silently. You pray so that God can hear what you're saying. And even though we know and we understand that in our spirit connects to his spirit, we verbalize it, we articulate it, we shout it to the rooftop so that he can hear us speak it, but not for him. It's really not for him. It's for us, so that we can reaffirm our prayers and our affirmations through ourselves, through our ear gates, through our voices to him, So yes, we have to be able to say to ourselves, look in the mirror and say, girl, I forgive you. It's okay. You just snot and cry, I'm sorry, Connie.
Mhm.
You know, I don't think I ever got to that point.
I'm sure I have.
You did, Jen? You started crying in the
I'm
mirror.
sure I have.
Sorry, Jen, I didn't mean it, boo.
And you know what? It feels good to do that though, to let all of that out, to let that emotion out and just clear out some of that mental baggage. You know, when you have that feeling like I just gotta just boost myself up a little bit, but I need to get this out first so I can get back to that point. So it feels amazing. Tammy, you want to talk to us about self-forgiveness?
But with self-forgiveness, I always look at what role did I play. In order for me, I have to play back everything. Because
Mhm.
if you don't admit your faults more or less when it comes to self-forgiving, then you probably keep making the same mistakes. And then you won't be able to forgive yourself. So
Mhm.
and then I take it one day at a time. So once I know the reason why it happened and what role I played in it, because we always want to point the finger at somebody else.
Mhm.
Then I'm able to forgive myself and go through the process and take it one day at a time. But just like she said, you shout it out, you talk about it, you know, you have to hear what you're going through more or less.
Mhm.
And then like and reading the word. That definitely helps me, reading the word. And that's how I self-forgive myself. I don't dwindle in pity parties. You know, I go through it and I'm done with it. And that's how I am
Mhm.
because I just feel like it affects your body, your mind, when you have unforgiveness within yourself. So I talk about it to myself, I'm done with it, and I move on. So that's my self-forgiveness on me.
Yeah, I like that about the one day at a time. I like that.
Hmm.
A lot of times we're so quick to want to get through something. I just want to be on the other side of this. I just want to get over this situation. I just want it to be done. But we really just have to allow ourselves to just live in the moment, learn from it, grow from it, from whatever experience it is. So not only we can learn for ourselves, but so we can teach and mentor others, just like you
Hmm.
mentor young ladies, Miss
Hmm.
Connie. So that's a great point. The one day at a time. Um, I want to talk a little bit about another post that I saw. It says one of the best feelings is finally losing your attachment to somebody who isn't good for you.
Mm.
Let's talk about releasing people out of your life who are not good for you. I know I personally have done that. I'm sure we all have. So let's get into that. Kat, you wanna start us off with that
Oh boy, you know, it's
one?
I think that is that's a lifelong process because I think along this journey called life, there are going to be things that we pick up and things that we drop off, and there are times where you may be at a certain point that everyone doesn't need to be with you. And even though we may want them to be along with us, that may not be in the master plan, that may not be in the playbook, that may not be in the script for them to be with us or for us to be with them. But as it relates to that baggage part of it, it's hard because we're used to carrying it. And you have to determine what their importance is, what their role is. Sometimes we're in someone's life just for a season, or they're in our lives just
Mhm.
for a season, and then that's it. You know, it's nothing bad, nothing terrible, but they just weren't meant to go along with you for the entire ride. Um, un- Unfortunately, I've seen that manifest itself in many different arenas: siblings, parents, friends, co-workers. It really has no boundaries, and it's tough, it's rough, and no one said it would ever be easy. But sometimes it is a necessary evil. It's a necessary thing that needs to be done in order for us to be able to get back to the self-care. This is what this is about, right? It's about
Hmm.
self-care. So if
Mhm.
someone is hanging on to you like a backpack, but it's causing you mental anguish, and then they got to go. They got to go, or you got to go. you remove yourself from the situation
Mhm.
so that you can have some peace of mind. Because, then you start getting into stress and
Yep,
mental stress and physical stress. It starts showing. You're not eating, you're not
that's right.
interacting with folk.
Mhm.
They notice the change, just snappy, you're mean, you're not happy. You get all these negative manifestations that come upon you because the company isn't right. I
That's
tell my
right.
sons all the time, my sons, I tell them to be careful of the company that you keep, because not always is it good for you. Is it good to you? Is it good for you? Nor is it good to you. So, and I do it myself. I still do it to this day. Have to lay some things down, and sometimes folks have to drop me off at the wayside. Maybe I'm not good for them.
Mhm.
So realizing that I may have to lose some baggage. Sometimes I get dropped off at the bus stop as well. And I'm just keeping it, I'm just keeping it real. Yes, Connie.
Oh no, I was scratching.
Okay.
Sam, you're doing a lot of agreeing over there. You sound like you have something to say. Go ahead and share. I know you got something
No,
to say.
what I was gonna say, it's funny that we're talking about this because I was just having this conversation with my son and his fiance, and I was sharing with them how, you know, sometimes you just have to just let stuff go, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't care for a person, you don't love them
Right.
anymore, but their season, like Kat was saying, their season is just up in your life, and you have to be okay with that. And so the question was, okay, but how do you know if you're making the right decision? How do you know if I'm supposed to stay connected to this person or I'm not supposed to stay connected to this person? And basically, I said to this to them, I said, you it can go both ways. You can say, well, we're having a rough time, so maybe God's trying to show me I'm not supposed to be with this person. Or you could say, we're having a rough time, but we've come through it, so God is showing us that we can still stay connected to one another and have victory in the end. Either side you take, you're going to come out a winner. You understand what I'm saying? Either side you take, you're going to come out a winner, because if you decide to stay committed to that one person that you love, that individual, that sister, that mother, that cousin, whoever, like Cap said, it doesn't necessarily mean an intimate relationship, but whoever that person is, and the two of you decide, hey, we're gonna work through it, we're gonna get through it. It's gonna work and it's gonna come to fruition. But if the two of you decide, hey, we're better apart, we're better friends, we can talk once a month as opposed to every other week because it's not working for us. And that could be very well work out on the behalf of both of you as well. So you really have to, I said, it's a faith walk. It doesn't matter where we are and what we do. It's a faith walk. It doesn't mean that you have to stop loving one another, stop loving a person. I was sharing with them that I was in a relationship with my oldest son's father for 11 years. Now, I didn't hate him. We didn't break up, fighting and angry. I still love him. He's my son's father, but that's who he is. He's my son's father. However, I left enough room in my heart to love more, to love others, to love my husband. You understand? You had to open up your heart to love. I told him, I used this analogy. When you were in first grade, you had that first grade crush on that boy. I'm gonna marry him. Then in sixth grade, it was the sixth grade crush. Oh, I love him. You know what I mean? Then you get to high school, you in that, I'm marrying, you get that high school love. So love is unconditional. It's ever growing. And there, I truly believe that there are levels of love. Not that we didn't love somebody in first grade, but that was where our heart was. That's what we felt. We felt like we loved the little boy with the brown eyes, when you did what you felt like you did. But as you grow and as you mature, those things change. So we have to be able to give other individuals, like Cap said, I might not be good for somebody else's life, and you got to be okay with that. If somebody says, hey, we cool, but you know what? I can't talk to you every other week. I need a break from you.
Right.
And that's how you have to be okay with that and not be mad at that person because your space and time with them is up. And just let that be and move on, because in that sense, you're making room for whatever else God has for you. That's what I believe.
Yep.
And at the same time, they are making room for whatever else God has for them. But if we don't give them the freedom and the liberty to be okay with it and make them feel bad because, I don't want to, I'm afraid if I don't do this, if I don't stay with him, or if I don't stay her girlfriend, boo boo, I want to get rid of you just like you want to get rid of me. I just don't know how to tell you, and you don't know how to tell me. So let's just agree to
Right.
agree, okay? We don't want to be bothered no more.
Right.
Tammy, what are you thinking?
You know, it's funny she says that, but like, even though you made a decision to move on, the other person doesn't understand that. So like, what did I do wrong? And they want to continue to hold on. So it's like, how do you break from that? If they're trying to continue to hold on, that's when you don't want to don't want to be mean and block the person or just ignore them. It's like you're trying to talk to them, but they're just not getting it. And that's the issue. And that's where the trouble comes in at. So but it's just funny she said that. But I mean, I feel the same way about self-love, because just like you said, I think Tyler Perry has said something about some people are leaves in your life, some people are limbs, some people are trunks, roots, you know. And going through, when you go through changes and you're able to come back and still be connected on the other side as friends. Not if somebody does not give me a peace of mind, because peace of mind is so vital in relationships. If I don't get a peace of mind, we continue to argue every time we talk, that person needs to leave. And if they don't recognize that, then they have an issue. But you both should be able to talk about that and go your separate ways. But peace of mind is so important to me, and especially when it comes to relationships. And just like you said, Connie, as you build, if you can build with communication and still stay together, that's good. But if you can't do that, you're always arguing, let's go our separate ways. So.
And Ms. Lewis, what do you
Well, you know
got?
what? A lot of times for me, it can go either way. It can be hard for me to let a relationship go, male or female. It can be hard for me to let it go. And then sometimes somebody can say something that will annoy me, and we could have been friends for 10 or 15 years. I got no problem kicking you to the curb. I have no problem kicking you to the curb. I mean, it's just, you know, and I've done that. I've done that. And I don't know why, but it's like, you know, it's like, I guess I can't let go of the relationship, that I have to be pulled out of it by being mean, not necessarily being mean to a person, but just by, you know, cutting ties and say, I no longer want to be, you know, bothered with you. You know, I don't appreciate what you said to me. I don't appreciate what you did to me, you know, and you just let it go. But I always tell my children that, you know, people, the family and friends that you have now, everybody's not going to go to the next level with you. So because, you know, my son was always talking about, well, when I was in high school, you know, we did this, you know, I had friends and, you know, we did this together, we did this together. And now I don't even see them and all, and I don't know what they're doing and all. And I'm 25 years old. Okay, well, that was high school. You have phases in your life. People are going to go through life for different phases. Like I said, people are in your life for a reason, a season, and a time. You know, some people are in your life forever. And you could lose contact with each other for a while and then see each other again after 10 or 15 years, like nothing ever happened, like you never left each other, you know. But some people, it's like, you know, like when you have, you know, changed different jobs, you're friends with your coworkers, but once you leave that job and you go to another job, that fades away and you get new friends. You know, so it's different phases in your life where you have, you know, people, you know, in your life, because they help you to grow. They help you to grow into the person that you're becoming. You know, you can't just have the same people in your life all your life. You need like a variety. You need a variety of people in your life. But sometimes it's hard for me to let go. And I'm the type of person that will do all the communicating. I'll call after 2 or 3 years I haven't talked to you. I'll pick up the phone and I'll call you. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? And I'm always the one calling. Nobody calls me to check on me, but it doesn't bother me. I'll continue to call, you know, and then after a while, I'll be like, well, wait a minute. They're not calling me. They're not keeping in touch with me. Why am I breaking my neck keeping in touch with them? You know, forcing them to have a conversation, you know, and then after a while, you get to a point where it's like, okay, you know, let's go ahead and cut them off and delete them off the phone, you know, forget the email address and all that, so you can move on, so you can allow for new people in your life. It's hard, but sometimes it has to be done.
So how does that make you guys feel, as far as like, we're all busy, obviously we all have careers, we all have families, things that we're doing that take up a lot of our time, so we don't necessarily have the time every day to reach out and call and text and do this and that. So what is your time frame? Like, at what point do you feel like, okay, is this person really my friend if I haven't heard from them in this amount of time? Like, is there a certain like time point that you put on it to where you say, okay, I don't know about this. It's been this long. Something must be wrong. Something must be missing from the friendship. Like, is there a certain way that you feel if it's been so long? Or, I mean, I know you were just talking about, you're the one that reaches out, but you said it was 2 years. I'm not going to, I don't know if I'm calling you after 2
It
years.
could have been
might
longer
be,
than that. It could have been
I don't know
longer.
about that.
Back in the day when we used to have phone books and you put your name, people's names and number in it, you be flipping through the phone book. Who do I want to call today? Let me call so-and-so. And you'll call them and say, hey, how you doing? They'll be like, Jackie. And I felt surprised and happy to hear from you and all. You'll have a little conversation and that's the end of the conversation. And next thing you know, it'll be another 2 years before you talk to them because because I'm calling them, they're not calling me. And then you get to the point where you realize, okay, they're busy with life. I need to get a life and move on. I just like to keep in touch with people. Because I know I'm the one who's going to go all out and I'm going to call you. I'm going to say, hi, how you doing? Because just like the other day, I was texting, a girlfriend of mine I haven't seen in years because I knew her birthday. I remember everybody's birthday. I knew her birthday had passed. So I texted her and I said, I hope you had a happy birthday. And she texted me back and she said, okay, yeah, I had a happy birthday. And that was the extent of the conversation. And then a friend of mine who I knew back in Virginia, I hadn't seen her on Facebook in a while. So I just got on her Facebook page and said, hey, just wanted to shout out and say hi to you. And, I do things like that, but I don't see that on my Facebook page. People don't call me, but I don't care.
It's your phone
I love
dry.
myself. I have a lot of self-love, so I'm good.
Now I got to piggyback on Jackie because Jack, I'm that person who people keep in contact with and I don't never call. So, but seriously,
we balance each other out, huh?
Oh yeah, exactly. So, but
I text her every day.
But I recognize it, okay, because I recognize who my friends are, and I said, let me call them before they call me. Then rest. Dang it, I was trying to get to you before you got to me, but I understand, and you're right. But if they are true friends, they'll start calling you. That's how I look at it, and I recognize these are my friends. And even though they always reach out to me, I want to reach out to them as well. Because even Jackie, even with our little club we have, Jack is always the one. Good morning, ladies. Good evening, ladies.
Every single day. It's good morning and good night.
That's that Leo personality. That's that fire.
So sometimes I try to beat Jackie to the punch.
You got to get up really early to do that.
But what happens to me a lot is I may start, it happens to all of us, I'll start thinking about somebody and I'm like, I haven't heard from this person in a long time. And I'll go somewhere and I'll either see them just randomly out of nowhere or they'll pop up on my timeline or something. And I'm just like, I was literally just thinking about this person. And also something that happens is occasionally I'll dream about someone and it won't even necessarily be a close friend or somebody that I communicate with on a regular basis. It might be somebody I haven't spoken to in years. And for some reason, they'll just pop up in my dream. And what I try to do when that happens is just to reach out and say, hey, you just crossed my mind. I wanted to check in on you and say hello. Because you just never know what people are going through. And sometimes I really can make somebody's day. And they might be like, oh, I guess somebody was actually thinking about me. I was having a tough day and so reached out. That's really cool. Okay. That just made my day. That made me feel a lot better. So that's just something that happens to me every once in a while. Cap, you want to talk to us a little bit? How long does it take you before you reach out to your friend?
It doesn't take too long. I'm that person too. I'm that caller. I'm the one that checks on folks. I find lost relatives. I have conversations. I mean, the whole kit and caboodle.
Good.
So it doesn't. But that was something that even I still deal with today. Even though I may call someone, even though I know that it's been well past their time, they should have at least called, check up on a brother. But it's kind of, I find it kind of challenging to break away from something that I've done for so long, you know, that I did personally. I did it professionally as a firefighter and in my position, so forth. I expanded it. And matter of fact, that's how I really grew the position because I did some things that were a little untraditional. So I engaged with people. I talked with people more than probably what the norm did. I would, you know, do a follow up just to see how they're doing. Matter of fact, the great relationship that I had with the media wasn't always because I was just so attentive and I always answered the phone. Sometimes I would call them back at the TV station just to see how they were doing. I didn't want anything, wasn't trying to hear what the latest word was or anything like that. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I know you said, I know you said your daughter was having an experience with cancer. How's she making? How's she dealing with that chemo? You know,
Mhm.
and at the end of that conversation, there was no but. There was no however. It was like, okay, well, I'll just call and check on and see how you're doing. So we'll talk again.
Mhm.
No, that's cool. That can be a form of self-love too, just expressing it to others, just showing others how much you
Yeah.
care because
It
that,
is.
helps you to feel like a better person. When you reach out and talk to people and communicate and just
It
see
is.
how other people are doing, then that can bring you a sense of relief to know that your loved ones are feeling good. So that is definitely a type of self-love. So let's just talk about one more thing before we have to wrap it up. Be your own best friend. How about that? A lot of
Woohoo!
people. So some people may think that it's weird to do things like going out to eat by yourself or going to
Yes,
see a movie by yourself or just
that
doing
part.
things alone. They feel like, oh, I've always got to be with my bestie or my boo or whoever. I personally feel like going by yourself and being out and people watching and sitting there and sipping on some tea and laughing at other people. I just love it. I'll put my AirPod in and start talking like I want to so I think but but yeah, so that's definitely something that I feel like is a great form of self-love. Just to treat yourself, take yourself out on a date, be your own best friend basically. So Miss Tammy, how about that? You your own best friend?
I do it all the time, all the time. In fact, these ladies said, "Are you here by yourself?" I said, "I am." How can you do that? Easy.
It's easy.
I don't have time to wait on
Did it.
anybody. I'm hungry. Okay. Now yes. But one thing I know, a friend of mine, he used to go to the movies by himself, and I used to say, "How can you do that?"
I used
But
to
then
do
I
that.
started going by myself.
Yeah.
So you
Mhm,
have to love you and be comfortable
mhm,
with you before you really join with somebody else. That's how I look at it because then I don't want to, you don't want to be a needy person. I need you to be here. I need you to go here. I need you to go there. No,
Mhm.
love yourself.
Yeah.
My daughter stays home all the time. She's content. She looks at a movie, she laughs, she just has a good time with herself. And she goes out. So
mhm,
she's comfortable with being by herself. And I think that's so important before you move out to be with somebody else. You have to have self-love. That's self-love to
mhm.
me. Mhm.
Mhm. I used to do
Absolutely, Miss
that. I
Connie.
used to go to
Oh, go ahead.
I used to go out to dinner by myself or lunch by myself. I used to go to the movies by myself, but I would go to the matinees so I could go in the daytime. And I would sit there, have my popcorn, have my candy, have my soda, and I'd sit there and enjoy the movie. I went to see Purple Rain by myself.
Oh.
How long ago that was?
Oh, baby, you got a good memory, honey.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I like to go for drives by myself. I like to do
Mhm.
things by myself, but I also like to be around people too.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, okay, I need to just stay in the house and read a good book, or I need to just, well, just go shopping by myself. I like to be by myself sometimes. I have no
But I think
problem with
but when you're in a career where you're literally around people all day long, I think
it
you
all day
need
long.
that. Like it's important that you take that time and just do those things by yourself. So Miss Connie, you shaking your head over there like, oh,
I agree. I agree with all you ladies. I'm
oh.
that chick. I will go to the movie by myself, out to dinner. I mean, I'm good. What's that song? Me, myself, and I. I got me. And
I'm
I
gonna read
found
my
out.
own best
Come on,
friend.
come on, Jay. I know you you know it. But you know, I could be my own best friend, and not everybody can say that because everybody's not happy with who they are. But
Yeah.
I can be, I can be my own best friend. I have plenty of best friends, but I'm saying we're talking about self-love, dealing with our own personal selves. I can be my own best friend. I can take myself to the nail salon. I can take myself to the mall and shop all day. My husband will call me, be like, "Where you at?"
I'm good. I'm
I'm
good.
out with my girl.
I'm good.
I'm out with my
Trust
girl.
me, I'm literally at the mall all day. I left at 10 and it's 5 and I'm still at the mall. You know what I mean? Because I done stopped, I done got me something to eat, done sat down, and I picked up shopping again. You know, I'm okay with being with me.
Yeah.
And I think that that's
Mhm.
very important
Look,
that everybody be okay with being with yourself. You know, that's that real self-love, that real self-encouragement, that still real self affirmation, like just being with you. And sometimes I just like to get in my car and just ride out.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go.
I'm just riding. I'm meditating. You know what I mean? I'm listening to myself. I'm hearing my spirit talk to me. You know, those kind of things, that
Mhm.
meditation and that quiet time. And so my husband called me, "You still, babe?" Yes. I'm still in the car party. I haven't picked up anyone. I'm alone.
He's like, let me FaceTime you.
You know,
Let me see. Where you be?
it's good.
need you
You know,
on video.
I'd be like, "You want to FaceTime me?" Right. You know, it's me.
hey, Jen, check
But
it out. Look,
yeah, it's
Yeah,
important.
what's up, Kat?
there's been plenty of stuff that I've done by myself. I mean, over when I think about my life and just even as an adult, I've done plenty of stuff by myself. You know, if I need to rush to the store to get a Mother's Day card last minute, I'm doing it by myself. I'm in the bathroom, I'm by myself. If I'm you know, there's a
Also.
there's enough, right? That part right there, right?
Let you
But
have it.
but I have never gone to the movies by myself. What I need to do that for? No,
Wait
no.
a minute. Hey, I
Yeah.
need you to do that ASAP. And then
Well-
when we have part 2 of this
Right.
conversation, let's hear about it. Because you're going to be like,
Right.
Well,
what?
So check this out. Check this out. So I had to speak pre-marriage, but before then, no. What I need to go to movies by? What I do not need to go to the movies by myself. There is a young lady who wants to be with me at the show. So she wants to go out. She wants to look nice. She wants to, hold on brother's arm, at the movie. So,
She wants to
no,
jump
I
at
do
the
not need to
scary
go.
scene.
I do not need to go by myself. And she doesn't deserve to be alone. That is
Yes.
Time. It's like watching. It's like cuddling up with a bowl of popcorn and watching Lifetime, like or binging on your favorite series. Like that's
Exactly.
on to the movie. That's the movie.
Exactly. I remember years ago.
You need to
Years
try
ago-
it before you knock it. It is wonderful.
It is. Years
It's
ago on
wonderful.
one of my birthdays, must have been, oh gosh, maybe 23, 24, something like that. I said, you know what? I don't have any plans today. Nobody's planning anything for me. It's fine. I'm going to the movies. So I went to the movies, and it was that Eden movie in Buckhead. I don't know if y'all remember. It was like Fork and Screen or something like that. So I go, I'm in the movies, I'm eating food, I'm watching the movie. I fell asleep. I was asleep. And then my best friend calls me, one of my other sorority sisters calls me, and they're like, Jen, what are you doing? I said, I'm at the movies. I just fell asleep in the movie, so I'm going to go see another one when this one ends. And they're like, oh, well, we're coming with you. So they came and saw another movie with me. So I was at the movies all day long. But yes, I went by myself. I fell asleep. It was great. It was wonderful. I don't remember what movie it was, but it was what I wanted to do, and I did it. So yeah.
You remember the Dollar movie in Fayetteville? Used to go there all the time.
Oh yeah.
North Carolina.
Like one
Yeah.
movie after another. Just
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Well, guys, it is time to
VIP.
wrap it up. Want to thank you guys. Yeah, time is up.
I
Yeah.
know, right? But we're gonna do a part 2 of
It's
self-love.
so early out
Yeah.
here. It's early.
I know you're out there in California.
Oh
Nice
yeah,
to meet
you
you.
are
Nice
in the
to meet
West.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us, for hanging out with us as we talked about self-love. And like Jen said, we're going to do a part 2 to self-love. because we need to talk more about the men and their self-love and,
Absolutely.
you know, tips that we have that they have as far as how they take care of themselves and all.
Absolutely.
So next week we're gonna have the all women show. Yay! We're
Always
doing
a
an all
great
women
show.
show next week.
Always a great show with all the women. Always.
Yeah, we're gonna get crazy next week. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Miss Tammy, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, I'll be texting you tonight to say goodnight.
She's like, I knew that. I was waiting for it.
You guys, just remember, everything you heard and everything we said was our point of view.
Our
We'll talk
point
to
of
you
view. Bye-bye. Thank
Bye.
you. Good night,
Bye.
everybody.
next time. Bye.